Good afternoon. This is The Pulse. My name is Kenneth Jesse. This afternoon, the Office of the Special Prosecutor says it has taken keen interest in allegations of extortion and related conduct leveled against Minority Leader in Parliament, Afenyo-Markin, by GoldBod Chief Executive Officer Sammy Gyamfi. In a statement, the OSP said it had received petitions from several individuals in connection with the allegations. The OSP again says it will assess the allegations to determine whether they fall within its statutory mandate and whether further investigative action is warranted. Here are excerpts of that particular statement released by the Office of the Special Prosecutor, and there you have it on your screen right now. It says that the OSP is acknowledging a joint petition submitted by two persons, as well as two separate petitions submitted by other persons in relation to the allegations. It continues to say that given the nature of the allegations, the OSP will assess the case and determine whether it falls within its statutory mandate and whether further investigative action is warranted. That's a statement released by the Office of the Special Prosecutor a while ago. We've also been hearing from the Minority Leader himself, Afenyo-Markin, who spoke on the probe with my colleague Carlos Caloni last night and said that he has taken a cue from Jesus Christ by choosing to remain silent in the face of the allegations.
Regarding, I have made certain
I've seen your statement.
I'm saying I've made certain statements. I would rely on them without more. Don't rush. You see, in the Bible, Jesus was accused, wild allegations. He kept quiet and watched them. He could have done anything, but you see, when you are dealing with situations, the people of Ghana expect a certain level of maturity from me. The people of Ghana see that this is an accomplished businessman. He's been in the space for some time. He's leading a group. The tradition of the party MPP that I lead expects a certain level of conduct. So if I would be carried away with emotions, I will fail. It's not an emotional game. It's not a game that somebody attacks you, you should also react. No, you won't get it. There's always a bait in politics. But
you see this as a bait?
I'm saying that there is always a bait.
No, I'm asking you specific questions.
I'm saying that there is always a bait in politics. And don't underestimate. Opponents also have a strategy. I was a majority leader. I know how government operates. I know how government can divert attention. So I've been there. Because the government must hold itself together. So it can be throw this in. Today, social media, let's divert attention. Let's stay in the man. But look, Carlos.
Is that what is happening?
Carlos, in opposition, like I said, was Akufo-Addo not in court? Was it not worse than my situation? You get what I mean? So, as for this game, I want to assure the party that the mandate they gave me, God willing, that mandate will be discharged. We would work hard. The people of Ghana expect us to do nothing less. They expect us as minority to be forthright, to work hard, to hold the feet of government to the fire. We will do that. All other things that will come, we'll deal with it. So don't worry.
That there is Minority Leader Afenyo-Markin. Let's bring in anti-corruption campaigner Edem Senanu for more on this. Edem, what do you make of the speed with which the OSP is moving on this particular subject? You would have to unmute your microphone so we can hear you, Edem.
Thank you. Sorry, the question again.
What do you make of the speed with which the OSP is moving on this particular issue? Because it says that it's going to weigh the option and see whether it falls within its statutory mandate to investigate.
Well, I think that they appear to be back on track. As you know, in the last 5 months or so, because of all the legal cases, we haven't heard anything from them. And typically, they don't react so quickly to things. So it's good to see that they have been able to comment and say they are going to review whether it falls under their mandate. That shouldn't take them more than a day. So strictly speaking, if they want to give us some information, I would expect that by tomorrow they should get back to us latest Wednesday to say, yes, this is within our mandate or not, and this is how we're going to proceed.
Let's look at the allegation. One is accusing the other of being an extortionist. The other says he's going to take a cue from Jesus Christ. What do you make of the allegation of extortion against the minority leader?
Well, extortion is a technical term. I mean, initially I had a few people saying that this is an insult. And I was like, no, well, an insult is when you say something is foolish or stupid. But if you say extortionist, it's a technical term meaning that somebody is forcibly compelling you to give them money, resources, items, which is not their due. So extortionist means something specific has happened. And it is worth probing and investigating whether something has happened outside the public view, which the chief executive of the GoldBod is alluding to. And that could have implications. So it is a worthy thing. It's a serious thing. I mean, for anti-corruption people, when you say somebody's extorting, it's a serious issue. Remember that the latest GSS data for 2025 said that there appeared to be an increase in extortion by public officers. So it is something worthy of investigation and trying to understand what has transpired. I'm hoping that if something like that has happened, there is substantive evidence that backs this particular allegation.
Others are also drawing comparison between this issue and that of the AXA Energy bribery scandal. We heard the OSP say that they assisted with investigations to their colleagues in the United States, but that has been it. Looking at how they've come out quickly to say that they are looking at the possibility of being able to investigate this, do you feel that the OSP is picking and choosing which issues to look into?
No, not at all. I think that these specialized agencies probably need to do some public education. It's amusing when sometimes we hear these things. Look, if the FBI is investigating something and collaborating with you, they'll tell you not to put anything out.
Right.
If you take the AXA Energy thing, that's a 6-year. It was a 6-year investigation, and hardly anybody knew about it. So you cannot be a partner or collaborator working with them where they have a case where they have evidence they want to use in court. They want to be able to, surprise people, make sure that people don't then begin to take, strategies to ensure that they are not caught in the net. So the OSP would not, for that period, once they had committed to working with the FBI, be allowed to put that information out or indicate that they were supporting the process until the issues had been dealt with substantively in court. So it's not about picking and choosing. This one is local. It's been brought to their attention, and I'm sure that they will revert. Indeed, I know the Special Prosecutor is supposed to speak, make one of their 6 monthly reports within the next week or so. So I'm looking forward to that.
Then there's the response of Minority Leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin. He's known to be very feisty and very vociferous when it comes to issues like this, but there are those who are raising concerns that he's been a bit sober, especially if you're to draw comparison between the interview that he had yesterday with my colleague Carlos Coloni, where he seemed a bit relaxed and calmer than his usual self. Do you think his response is helping matters at all?
Well, yes. I mean, calm heads are needed when things seem to get out of hand. I was rather intrigued because I took a look at the 182-page IMF report, and Joy, you had done a good job of fact-checking. The 47 mentions of the GoldBod, not once mentioned that there was a loss. Indeed, it's the Bank of Ghana that had made a loss and essentially owes the GoldBod. So I was wondering why the minority leader would come and lead that kind of allegation. I'm wondering whether the people behind the scenes did not do a good job of checking what they were saying. And potentially he may have been set up for a situation where now they'll have to manage what they do next. So it's good that he's sober because if you look at the data, it doesn't support what he said. And I'm not quite sure how they're going to wriggle out of this one. So the next days and weeks to come will show how they are able to come out of this particular situation.
This will not be the first time that we are hearing of alleged allegation of corruption against members of parliament. We heard some against former Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu and other MPs. What does this really say about our legislative arm of government?
Well, you see, they're in the public space. It's just like the police. You know, whenever we do the anti-corruption surveys, the police come out at the top. But it's the interface, especially the MTTU, always on the streets engaging people. Parliament is consistently in the face of the public because they are dealing with laws and issues that, you know, affect our daily lives. So I'm not too surprised that they tend to have all these stories coming up. What is much more important is that at the end of the day, there is a strong sense that our parliamentarians are ethically minded, are not getting themselves embroiled in actions that promote graft. And if they are, such persons should not deem themselves honorable. They should therefore, you know, honorably resign if the case is true. I mean, over the weekend, we've been working on the Conduct of Public Officers Bill, something that needs to come into place where we have a strong understanding of the kind of ethics that public officers should stand to. So I think that is the nature of their work. But what is much more important is that they themselves should have very strong ethical principles.
And then there's a saying that he who alleges must prove. We've heard Sammy Gyamfi, the CEO of GoldBod, make these allegations, very strong allegations against the minority leader in Parliament. Do you expect him to provide evidence of that?
Oh, yes. He owes us explanations. He cannot just say somebody's extortionist. I mean, we've had this debate on other platforms where the politicians seem to say they have their own culture and they can say things about each other, and after elections or whatever, it's okay. But the Ghanaian culture and populace at large don't expect that individuals make statements that don't have value or they don't really mean it. So we do expect Mr. Sammy Gyamfi to come back and come well with details of why he has labeled the minority leader an extortionist. And I'm hoping that he actually has the facts and the evidence to substantiate what he has said.
And then there are those school of thought who are also saying that now the narrative is gradually shifting from the GoldBod losses to these extortionist claims. Of course, they are very damning claims, which the OSP is trying to look into. Do you think that this was a calculated attempt to shift the attention from the losses incurred by the Bank of Ghana to now what we're discussing about the extortion claims against the minority leader?
Not at all, because the initial communication had nothing to do with Bank of Ghana losses. It was all about GoldBod losses. So if attention is being shifted, it was being shifted from a misleading set of facts.
Right.
So really not. But if we want to pay attention to the Bank of Ghana loss, I think that's critical. Anytime we can learn from the past and improve the future, that's a useful exercise. So reflecting on it, if people believe that we need to pay more attention to the Bank of Ghana losses, I think that that's something that we should take up. Media, civil society, other technical people within the space. It's useful to interrogate what exactly happened.
Edem Senanu, glad you could join me this afternoon. He's an anti-corruption campaigner. And still on this pressing matter, the United Party, UP, has petitioned the Attorney General, the Office of the Special Prosecutor, SHRAJ, among other investigative bodies, over the extortion allegation leveled against minority leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin. The petitioners want a full-scale state investigation into the matter to uncover the substance of the allegation made by the Chief Executive Officer of GoldBod, Sammy Gyamfi. And this is coming at the back of a recent public banter between the two. First, let's listen to the allegation raised by the GoldBod CEO, Sammy Gyamfi, at the Government Accountability Series last week.
All documents requested by them were supplied, and all queries raised by them in their management letter were satisfactorily answered. This is why not a single, and I repeat, not a single adverse audit finding was made by the Auditor General in its 2025 audited report on the GoldBod, not on imaginary or hallucinatory losses, not on procurement breaches or breaches of the Public Financial Management Act. Not a single adverse finding in the report of the Auditor General on accounts for the year 2025. The media, I humbly submit, must not condone and entertain the deliberate propagation of lies in the face of glaring evidence to the contrary. Now, friends from the media, after adducing these indisputable findings of the Auditor General to puncture the lie that the GoldBod made losses in 2025, Afenyo-Markin and his associates quickly abandoned this line of attack and have now sought refuge in the recently published IMF reports on the Bank of Ghana's standard credit facility, in which the IMF reported that the Bank of Ghana recorded a loss of $1.7 billion under its domestic gold purchase program in 2025. Their position has now conveniently changed from the old false narrative that the GoldBod made losses to the new false narrative, which is that the GoldBod is responsible for losses incurred by the Bank of Ghana under the domestic gold purchase program. Ladies and gentlemen, nothing could be further from the truth. First, nowhere in the under-referenced IMF reports is GoldBod accused by the IMF as having caused the losses reported to have been incurred by the Bank of Ghana under the domestic gold purchase program. I challenge Afenyo-Markin to point to any page, paragraph, sentence, phrase, or punctuation mark in the said reference reports of the IMF where the GoldBod was accused by the IMF as the entity responsible for losses incurred by the Bank of Ghana. In summary, ladies and gentlemen, what the IMF report states is that Bank of Ghana incurred losses through the sale of gold under its domestic gold purchase program of $400 million in the year 2024 and $1.7 billion in the year 2025. And that the 2025 loss of $1.7 billion was as a result of, I'm quoting the IMF verbatim, the scaling up of the domestic gold purchase program, not incompetence or mismanagement. According to the IMF, that loss was as a result of the scaling up, the expansion of the program. The IMF also stated that these accounting losses partly reflect valuation effects. In particularizing what the IMF considers to be components of this loss, the IMF listed three things, which included fees paid to the GoldBod under the domestic gold purchase program. This is the true context within which the name of the GoldBod featured relative to losses under the DGPP in the reference IMF reports.
Sammy Gyamfi is the CEO of GoldBod. James Afenyo is my colleague here joining you. He's joining me in studio with the details of that particular petition. James, who are the petitioners and what are their concerns?
Well, Ken, two petitioners involved in this. One is both of them coming from the United Party. The first one is the Director of Communications of the party, Solomon Owusu, and second is the Director of Legal Affairs of the party, Andrews Apia Dankwa. The two have petitioned a number of state organizations, state investigative bodies, including the Office of the Attorney General and Minister for Justice, the Special Prosecutor, the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, the Commissioner for the Commission for Human Rights and Administrative Justice, SHRAJ, the Inspector General of Police, as well as the Director General for the Criminal Investigations Department, CID, of the Ghana Police Service. And this is a 60-point petition on a 10-page document. So very detailed, both on the reasons why they are calling for this petition, a quote legal background to why they petition every single institution in this with regards to the Constitution, as well as the various acts and laws that they refer to in this particular petition and what exactly their demands are. So Ken, let's start with the reasons why they are calling for this petition. Basically, the point of these two petitioners is that if you consider the two characters involved in this allegation, if you put aside the allegation itself and you consider the two characters involved, it is quite two heavyweight occupying very serious or sensitive positions in this country. For instance, the minority leader is the leader of the minority caucus in parliament, whose duty primarily is to hold government accountable in parliament. And so that is the reason. And the man making the allegation, the CEO of the GoldBod, these are two heavyweights. And so it brings the matter under proper perspective why it needed to be investigated. For instance, if you read point 12, 13, 14 of that petition, they said, quote, "We nevertheless consider that allegations of this character made publicly by persons holding high public office and concerning a serving leader of parliament are far too serious to be dismissed as ordinary political rhetoric." Now, if the allegations are true, they may disclose an attempt of use of political standing, parliamentary influence, access to information, or the threat of reputational injury as instrument for extracting a substantive private financial benefit. It continues by saying that if, on the other hand, the allegations are false or impeccable of substantiation, they constitute an equally serious assault upon the reputation of the minority leader and upon the integrity of parliament as an institution. And so it is the basis primarily for which reason why they put up this 60-point document to these various institutions to look into making some number of demands.
James Avaji, thank you very much. Well, still on this issue, the minority in parliament is daring GoldBod CEO Sammy Gyamfi to substantiate allegations of extortion he has made against the minority leader, Alexander Afenyo-Markin. Well, the minority is accusing the GoldBod CEO of seeking to shift attention from the $1.7 billion losses with what they say is the unfounded allegations against their leader, following a caucus meeting at which the claims played a prominent role. MP for Old Tafel and member of the Economy Committee, Vincent Eko Asefwa, says they are fully behind their leader and the person who made the allegation must prove it.
The minority leader is a lawyer. The GoldBod CEO is a lawyer. He knows that the basic principle in law is that he who alleges must prove. Now, you are making an allegation against the minority leader. And mind you, that has been their modus operandi any time that we come at them and we expose them about their incompetence and their bad governance. You shift attention from the substance of the matter. The substance of the matter is that there has been a loss, which loss has not been denied by Bank of Ghana or the GoldBod. In fact, remember last year when the minority raised issue about the $214 million loss. At the time, the Bank of Ghana had not even completed its fate review. When the fate review came, that was when we realized that yes, the losses were even bigger than the 214 that we mentioned. And now we are finding out that when the fate review was done, the losses are about 1.7 billion, which is about 22 billion. But initially, remember, GoldBod denied. Bank of Ghana also denied. But today, none of them are denying these losses. So the losses are very important. Ghanaians are interested. The opportunity cost of these losses is what I'm interested in. And journalists, you should be interested in the opportunity cost.
But the minority in parliament have since filed a fresh motion for an ad hoc committee to investigate the losses.
Nobody teaches the minority as to how we should go about its work. The tools that is available to Parliament is well placed within our hands to use any of the tools that we so deem fit to use. If somebody wants to use the Public Accounts Committee, the person can go ahead to do so. But can the person also tell us that based on Article 103 of the 1992 Constitution and Order 204, 212, 213, 262, and 263, the minority is not well placed to come by way of a motion? If the person is not able to dispute that, then forget about that. We will not go to the convenience or the arena of convenience for the person. We are saying that it is an ad hoc motion, an ad hoc committee that is going to help the minority to be able to unravel the circumstances to which this loss came by. And so that is our strategy. We will not bend the rules, or we will not bend our strategy for anybody's convenience. It is our contention that the motion that Parliament, that is the minority, has sent to the Speaker of Parliament for the Speaker of Parliament to consider within this week is something that is much more important, because as per Article 103 of the 1992 Constitution, which allows Parliament to be able to set up a committee to investigate and inquire into if like issues that borders on ministries, agencies, and departments. And of course, our orders is also well placed. That is Order 212, 204, 213, 262, and 263. Allows Parliament to establish an ad hoc committee, which ad hoc committee is given the mandate to even call on persons who we believe can assist Parliament to be able to investigate this matter. So let's take to the substance of the matter.
Well, let's still stay in Parliament and speak to our resident correspondent, Kweku Asante, who is joining us with more. Kweku, you have secured exclusive copy of this motion. What exactly is the full demand? Hello, Kweku, can you hear me?
Okay, well, Ken, this is a similar... yes, Ken, can you hear me?
Carry on.
This is a similar petition motion as we saw in the past. I mean, if you look at it, it says that this honorable, pursuant to Article 103 of the 1992 Constitution and standing orders, investigate the program, including its design, implementation, governance, financial performance, environmental and public health implications, and any related matters. That the purpose of the said ad hoc committee shall be to inquire into, among others, the reported foreign exchange losses sustained by the Bank of Ghana in connection with the scheme, the rules of relevant state institutions, the integrity of supply chain due diligence, and traceability system. So this is the scope is broad. It just doesn't limit this investigation to the losses, but to environmental issues as well. Because mind you, the minority have always insisted that when it comes to this program, one of the big issues it has to do is the matter of illegal mining. And so they've broadened the scope in terms of what they expect from the investigation that is going to happen. But this motion, as we know, has now gone to the Speaker of Parliament, who will determine if it is eligible for admission, or in fact the right word is if it is admissible. If it is admissible and the Speaker of Parliament admits it, it will appear on the order paper, and the business committee will program it for it to be debated and a decision taken on the floor of the House. So that is the situation now, and that perhaps informs the reason why the minority continue to insist that standing committees of Parliament or select committees should not be the ones investigating this, because the point that has been made by the majority, for which reason they rejected a similar motion in the past, is that the Public Accounts Committee, the Economic Committee, or even the Finance Committee, as it's constituted, is properly in line to actually deal with this matter. And so we expect that the Speaker of Parliament will make a determination on this in the coming days. Mind you, Parliament is only going to sit for 5 days. And so as we understand from the minority, they expect a decision as soon as possible so that they can move forward and deal with these matters. So that is the situation with this motion now. You see behind me a number of members of Parliament already seated from both the minority and majority side, awaiting the Speaker of Parliament to gather the House in session. When proceedings of the day begin, we'll get to know what exactly the Speaker is doing with this matter. But given the issues surrounding this GoldBod matters, it is expected that it will come up quite strongly on the floor, Ken.
Kweku, thank you, but don't go yet, because members of Parliament, we understand, have returned to the House for a string of urgent legislative businesses following the recall of the House by the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin. The recall comes amidst allegations of extortion leveled against the minority leader by GoldBod CEO Sammy Gyamfi. Allegations the Futu MP has categorically denied. We'll take you to the House pretty shortly, but here's a news desk report on a minority caucus meeting, which Joy News sources have said some senior MPP MPs have pressed the minority leader to address the allegations against him.
The bombshell allegation was made at the seat of the presidency when GoldBod CEO Sammy Gyamfi addressed journalists to respond to allegations of losses made against GoldBod by the minority in Parliament, led by their leader, Afenyo-Markin.
Afenyo-Markin's continuing antics must therefore be seen for what they are: a desperate smear campaign by persons who have specialized in sophistry and political blackmail in pursuit of selfish ends. These are devious extortionists who will come at you with lies to tarnish your reputation in the hope that you will fold and settle for what they call, quote, compulsory arbitration, and oil their palms. Well, this time around, they found their own target.
In an interview on Newsfile on Joy News over the weekend, Sammy Gyamfi doubled down on the allegations and dared the minority leader to sue him.
There are many underlying issues between I and Afenyo-Markin that you don't know and those watching don't know. So the NPP people talking, there are things you don't know. And that is why he cannot comment on that or even challenge me. He cannot, because he knows that what I said is true. Tell him that you want to be his lawyer so that he sues Sammy Gyamfi to substantiate that claim. Tell him.
The minority leader has since categorically denied the claims and has said in a statement that he's considering his options legally. But his denial appeared to have done nothing to calm several senior NPP MPs who believe their leader must do more than issue just a denial. Joy News can exclusively report that these senior NPP MPs have forced the meeting of the caucus to demand further answers from the minority leader, which is now scheduled to be held this morning ahead of Parliament sitting later in the afternoon after the House was recalled for urgent legislative business. Joy News will be keeping its ears and eyes on the grounds for details of this meeting, even as some NPP MPs bay for blood. Kweku Asante for Joy News.
And Kweku Asante is still with me in Parliament. Kweku, we understand that this caucus meeting has ended. What came out of it?
Meeting did happen this morning, and just like we've been reporting, our reporting has focused on the fact that some minority MPs demanded answers of their leader. What we have not reported is that he was summoned. Of course, there was a bit of that part in the online story, which has since been corrected. But the focus of our story has always been, and we stand by it, that some leaders, some leading figures within the opposition MPP in Parliament, they demand some answers. And we've got some understanding of what happened in the meeting. You see behind me a couple of the NPP MPs already seated, and that meeting ended just before midday, and we are getting an understanding of a broad support for the minority leader. There's a certain indication among the rank and file of the NPP in Parliament that this allegation are mere diversionary tactics, and you heard there from Vincent Eko make the same point, and I interviewed him after the caucus meeting happened. Of course, he's not so keen on divulging the substance of what the caucus agreed, but he agrees with his colleagues who come from the stock of that meeting, who say that their understanding is that this is merely a diversionary tactic by Sammy Gyamfi to force the minority to keep their eyes off the ball as it relates to the issue having to do with the $1.7 billion loss that the minority is so intent on pinging on GoldBod. And so they say that they are backing their minority leader. In fact, we know that this morning the minority leader did meet with the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and has actually since published, Alexander Afenyo-Markin, that the minority has the full support, and he in particular, as leader of the caucus, has the full blessing and full support of the flag bearer to continue to keep its eye on the ball. So the major takeaway and information I'm getting from this meeting is that there's a certain sense that they need to back their leader to continue to put the fire on government to be able to get this motion that they have subsequently filed to get some understanding and some answers from the GoldBod as well as the Bank of Ghana. So that is the biggest takeaway, that Alexander Afenyo-Markin perhaps walking away from that meeting as the biggest winner, because it has given him a little bit more impetus from his colleagues who understand and support him over the claims that Sammy Gyamfi is simply working on a diversionary tactic. And he's also since then met the flag bearer of the party, who has given him his full blessing to continue to keep his eye on the ball.
Turn our attention now to the chamber, because we know that sitting hasn't started, but run us through the major issues to be dealt with at these emergency sittings.
Well, it's mainly about the nomination of persons to either ministerial positions or to the Supreme Court. We know that within the vacation, or within the recess, I should say, the appropriate term, that the president did nominate two persons to fill certain ministerial portfolios. Mahama Yarega, the outgoing majority leader, is to be the local government minister. Zaneto Ajiman Rawlings is to be the environment, science and technology minister. These positions would have to be vetted. And so that will come up on the floor. The Speaker of Parliament will make the reference to the appointment committee for them to sit on it. We know also that the President had put before the Judicial Council the names of 3 persons to become Supreme Court nominees, and that will also come before Parliament, and an appointment committee would have to sit on all of that. And if Parliament is on recess, then the Speaker of Parliament is unable to make the referral. Usually, the House would have to sit, the Speaker would have to read the letter from the President making these nominations on the floor and then refer them to the appropriate committee. All of that will be done. But also the other bigger business is that because Mahama Yarega is moving on to become a minister, someone else would have to take his position. And as we've confirmed over the course of the last few days and weeks, James Agaga, the MP for Buza South, is expected to be the new majority leader. And so today, when the nominations are made and Mahama Yarega moves on to go and face the appointment committee, we expect that a letter will come from the government, particularly from the NDC, announcing a new majority leader and leader of government business. And that will actually lead to James Agaga taking the black seat in the chamber on the majority side. So these are the major business that we expect to be taken. There are still chatters around that the anti-LGBTQ bill may come up for reconsideration. We do not have a lot of confirmation on that yet, but we'll get to see as soon as the Speaker of Parliament takes his chair and governs the House in session. Ken.
Reports to us from Parliament. Thank you very much, Kweku. Let's do some politics this afternoon, because the race for top leadership position in the opposition New Patriotic Party has begun, as filing of nominations began this morning. 50 persons have picked nominations to contest for 11 positions in the party. The list includes former members of Parliament, incumbents, CEOs, among others. We go live to the party's headquarters pretty shortly, but first here's a report capturing all the big names who are vying for various positions.
The New Patriotic Party's headquarters is expected to get busy from Monday, August 24 to Sunday, 29th, as a total of 50 aspirants who picked forms are expected to file their nominations. 5 aspirants will battle for the top spot as chairman upon successful filing and vetting. They include former chairman Paul Afoko, former General Secretary John Boedu, former Energy Minister Boachi Tremantin Ejako, and Ashanti Regional Chairman Bernard Nchubuesiako, popularly known as Chairman Wuntumi. The Vice Chairperson race presents what many describe as another battleground, with 13 people picking forms to contest, including experienced hands such as current national organizer Henry Nana Boachi, current Director of Communications Richard Ahiagba, former Kumasi Mayor Sam Pine, former NPA boss Mustafa Hamid, and current chairman of the Communications Committee of the party Nana Akomia. Justin Kudia Frimpong is contesting to be elected as General Secretary for a second time. He will, however, face fierce battle from former Subin MP Eugene Boachi Entry and former Botiano English Yamanfro MP Sylvester Tete. 8 people will contend to succeed Nanabi as organizers of the NPP, including former Tema East MP Daniel Ni Kwate Titus Glover and current National Youth Organizer Salam Mustafa. Vetting of the aspirants begins from August 31 to September 3. The party's National Delegate Congress will later come off on October 3 to see the election of the party's top brass, who will lead the NPP into the 2028 election. James Savaji, Joy News.
Incumbent General Secretary of the opposition New Patriotic Party, Justin Kudia Frimpong, has arrived at the party's headquarters accompanied by scores of supporters amidst singing and dancing as he filed his nomination. He will battle it out with 3 other contenders, including former Subin MP Eugene Boachi Entry, Sylvester Tete, and Charles Dramana, in the October 3rd elections. For his spokesperson and Deputy General Secretary of the party, Haruna Mohammed, Frimpong Kudia remains the best person to take the position. Take a listen.
Now, as we stand now, we have 4 candidates, including lawyer Justin Kudia Frimpong, who will be contesting for the position of the General Secretary. And today we are filing our nomination, looking at we and then other candidates. I think that the General Secretary is a person that has well been prepared, well positioned, and then being focused to be able to rebuild this party. Looking at where he has taken the party from, and then the momentum he has been able to gather, and the resilience that he has been able to put together, and how we understand the party structure, and how he has been able to transform the party from where it was, and how the structures have been built. I think that Kodia is the right person to be able to.
One may argue that ahead of the 2024 election, he was among the executives who led your party into that election, and you lost abysmally. So do you think that he's still the best person to lead again ahead of the 2028 election?
The entire party, the party delegates, doesn't believe that they were the people who led it to lose the elections. The biggest beneficiary on that particular rule of that election was Dr. Bawumia. The party people decided to retain him. So certainly that it tells you that it was not the leadership that made the party to lose. Because if there was anything or verdict on who led the party to go, then they certainly wouldn't have retained Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. But in terms of the party leadership, you know, party and government are different matters. And you know the issues that came up in the 2024 elections. The issue in the 2024 elections was more of to do with governmental than party. And all the issues that the government or the party ought to have done, then Kodia had done it, because he had come out to call the government to be able to do reshuffle. He came out to tell the government that this is what we have to do. He came out to disagree with the government on other policies that were coming up. And then he came out to tell the people that if you are tired, please put your pen down and make sure that the president appoints somebody else. So he has done all these things.
Well, let's just stay at the NPP's headquarters and speak to our correspondent, Fatal Bayaga. Fatal, we know that Justin Kodia has filed his nomination, but what has he been telling you?
And so Justin Kodia made a grand entry into the party's headquarters, flanked by members of parliament and, many scores of supporters. He filed his nomination and basically addressed the gathering, saying that he's the best person to lead the NPP in that particular position. He's done it before. I mean, just as he's seeking a second term, and he's able to build a very strong, unity within the grassroots level. And he thinks that he's the best person to unite and help the party in winning the 2028 general election. He talks about the fact that he has a very cordial relationship with the current flag bearer or the flag bearer of the party, Mahmoud Bawumia, and he thinks that all of that is to help him and the party to be able to rebuild strongly and, clinch the seat again in 2028. He also talked about the fact that, after the 2020, when the NPP lost in the 2024 election, they decided to structure the party by adopting a top-to-bottom approach. That is to elect the flag bearer first before any other position. He said that particular situation brought a lot of criticism to him himself and other executives of the party. He said now he's been vindicated. The reason he said that now they've been able to build unity ahead of that election because now that the flag bearer has been elected, the best thing to do is now to unite the base, which they've been able to do significantly at the moment. So he says that that has actually vindicated him at this particular point, and he believes all of that will help the party in, winning the 2028 election. And so, again, we've been saying, we've been talking about so many things. And then the chairman of the election committee, Frederick Opariansa, said that they are going to ensure that this election is conducted in a free and fair manner. He said this is an internal election, and what they need to do is to conduct this election fairly so that after the election, no one will ask any question in order to, strengthen the party's base ahead of the 2028 election. And for many of the supporters who came here to support Justin Kodia, they say that they trust his leadership and they believe that he's the best person to be able to lead the general secretary position for the party. And then the last one before you go, Ken, one of the aspirants in the National Youth Organizer position, I'm talking about Clement Akufo-Addo, who is a former GC for Amensia South, popularly known as CID. He came here with many of his supporters. He filed his nomination. He said he's a young person. He's been doing this work for a very long time, working for Akufo-Addo, until this time. And he believes that he will be able to, galvanize the support of the youth at a grassroots level, and that would cement the party's foundation ahead of the 2028 election. And that would ultimately help the MPP in gaining power again.
Fatal Bayaga is a man on the ground at the MPP's headquarters, where a lot of individuals have filed their nominations to contest for the various national positions that have become available. And joining me in the studio right now is Haruna Mohammed. He's the Deputy General Secretary of the opposition NPP. Haruna, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Kenneth.
We've not heard officially from the NPP about the extortion allegations being leveled by your minority leader in Parliament. What's the position of your party?
Thank you very much. First and foremost, I would like to say good afternoon to your cherished viewers, and then good afternoon to the entire multimedia team and your reporters who came to the party headquarters to report on the filing of the General Secretary's nomination today. Indeed, we have heard of these particular extortion allegations that has been peddled by persons who themselves have made similar issues and in the past, and just trying as much as possible to score some political points. We don't see any merit in those particular allegations because the one being alleging is somebody that we as a political party doesn't trust and does not think that they merit our response in that particular manner, because the messenger must be as clean as the message. So if the messenger is not clean, I don't think that it is going to be proper for us to waste our time and effort to be responding to such people. But what clearly I want the people of Ghana to notice is that this is a deliberate effort to swear away people and to divert the people's attention from what is currently happening in government. This is an allegation that has been put out there. And if there is an allegation of an extortion, from who? Have they been able to mention who that extortion has been? Because the laws of this country questions the giver and the taker. So these are matters that I believe that people should be looking at. And again, if a mere allegation can be made by people just for necessary of political point, let's ask ourselves, a judgment has been procured in the US with respect to corruption-related issues. None of the CSOs, nobody, not even a yet to be published a political party in the named as UP, because they have not been given a certificate to operate, have been able to come out to even petition the office of the Special Prosecutor. The Special Prosecutor office has remained silent, very mute on that particular matter. This is a matter that has been established in the law court. This is a matter that has been proven. This is a matter that has been adjudicated on. Nobody is talking about it. Nobody has petitioned about it. IOCO is not talking about it. Special Prosecutor is not talking about it. Nobody, not the CSOs. Is it because they have informed them on the government WhatsApp platform that they shouldn't talk about it? Today, they have gotten the mouth to talk about where our country is going today. Right. If people don't take their stomachs out of the directions that they are going, I don't believe that we'll have a very concrete discussion on matter.
Today, where we understand within the party that Afenyo-Markin should be changed as minority leader. Is that something that has come to your attention, and should he be changed?
It's a perception.
Right. You've heard it, right?
There is a guideline as to how minority leaders or leadership in parliament is done. None of it has been triggered. Again, with regards to the meeting that has happened today, it did not happen because of the allegation that is peddled against Afenyo-Markin. Because in every session that they are to begin parliament, the caucus will meet. So it is a normal caucus meeting. And when the caucus meets and such an allegation is thrown out there, definitely somebody would want some answers. So asking for answers is not a query. Right. It's for explanation to be given, because we have to speak to that particular matter when it comes up. So this was the result of which that question was asked for answers to be given. And at the end of the day, the minority moved on, solidly behind the minority leader. And I think that we need to focus and make sure that we are able to hold their legs to the fire and to ensure that accountability will be very great.
So the MPP is solidly behind the minority leader?
He is the mighty minority leader, and the party is behind him.
Let's talk about the filing of nominations today. Your boss, Justin Kodia from Paul, was among a plethora of candidates who filed their nomination today. Let's look at Justin Kodia. What are his chances, and why should people elect him again?
Well, thank you very much. Today, we came out in our numbers. persons from the regional party executives from all the regions were here. We have all the structures of the party were clearly represented, constituency chairman and other executives within Greater Accra. They came out in their numbers to support lawyer Justin Kwesi-Afimpong to submit his nomination forms today. It clearly indicates how he has had a very good working relationship with the executives. Remember that after the election, there have been new people that has been elected as part of the persons to manage the affairs of the party for the next 4 years. And these new people have found themselves to like and also to appreciate the work that lawyer Justin Kwesi-Afimpong has done, and all of them have come out in their numbers to support us. If you ask me why lawyer Justin Kwesi-Afimpong should be retained, first, when we came in the year for the 4-year period, first we have looked at building a stronger party institutions, making sure that we put in the appropriate structures to be able to work for us. Also using digital transformation to be able to put the party in a very good light in terms of how we work through to generate funds, through to transform information, through to getting access to opportunities and what have you. All these particular platforms has been used. We have also made sure that we are able to build a very credible internal democracy to be able to accept people, for people to accept the responsibility that elections has been organized fairly. And this has been done over time within the period of the 4 years of lawyer Justin Kwesi-Afimpong. We have also been able to do what we call the grassroots mobilization and grassroots empowerment. We have focused on that within the 4 years. And we have also done what we call the election readiness plan for all of us to be able to use as a political party. So if you ask me the specifics, one, we established the legal directorate. This legal directorate that we have established has been used to be able to strengthen our party capacity to be able to protect the interests of the party in the courtrooms, and also to ensure that the right processes and procedures are used when party people and government people have been put before the court system. We also strengthen the internal democracy, where we have worked to ensure that internal processes are being transparent. One, in 2023, lawyer Justin Kwesi-Afimpong as the General Secretary, we make sure that we validated all the albums that we had used were to use for the internal primaries for the first presidential primaries that we took over from. Remember, the internal elections in 2022 had created so much tension, that has created so much divisions within the party, where many people had disagreed with the form in which those particular elections had gone. For us to be able to use that particular album to go for elections, lawyer Justin Kwesi-Afimpong's view was that let's go out there and validate the album to ensure that persons that are on the album are clearly accepted to be the people who are going to be the delegates for that particular elections. All the 16 regions we went through and validated this particular album. After doing the validation, he remained neutral throughout the contest of that particular elections. And at the end of the day, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia became the flag bearer of the party. And he was able to bring on board the other contenders because he stood as a leader, and a leader who ensured that transparency and accountability was key. So we had a very successful presidential primaries without any problem. We moved on to have our parliamentary primaries under him. And in that particular parliamentary primaries, we ensured that there was fair contest and people accepted the verdict of the people. And in that particular scenario, you saw that in the past, people did not vote for the party because they disagreed in the form in which parliamentary primaries were being done. So these processes was made very open. People accepted the verdict of that particular process. And in doing so, we tightened up this particular process at this particular time. When you look at the organization of polling station elections, you will realize that people would have go for polling station elections in midnight, and they come and they will tell them that the elections has been organized. In these particular circumstances, a guideline, a clear guideline has been issued. Timelines have been given. Notice of posts have been given. Nobody is put behind the back. And all these processes has been very transparent. So the polling station executives today are very happy with the process that has been put in. The constituency executives today are happy with the process. There's a constituency
The electoral area executives are very happy with the process that we have used in the organization of the internal structure. So we have been able to put all these things together because he is looking at making sure that the structures of the party are right. We are able to be fair. We are able to be accountable. We are able to be transparent so that everybody will like how the processes have been looked at.
We have also instead critics, let me come in here, critics of your boss have argued that this was the man that supervised one of the worst electoral defeats in the history of the NPP. In fact, at a point, you had 137 MPs in Parliament. Now you have about 87, a drastic drop in members in the House of Legislature. We've also seen your numbers at the polling station when the votes were cast drop by more than 2 million. So really, if this was the General Secretary that supervised such an abysmal performance during the general elections, why should he be retained?
You see, Kenneth, the very interesting point here is that the people who are competing with him, even describing that we have supervised a worst form of elections, could not manage a single constituency as the beneficiaries in those particular elections. If the lawyer Justin Kodua Frimpong is supervising over 276, not being the candidate for that election, but being the general secretary for the election, then you being a candidate in that election for a single constituency, and with all the experiences that you have and all the support that the party did through the very general secretary you are contesting, cannot manage and maintain a seat, how then can you maintain 276 seats? So if you match lawyer Justin Kodua Frimpong against his contenders and against the backdrop of this particular analysis, then he is the best person to lead the party because he has been able to go through that particular turbulence. He did not go in there because it was the party that occasioned the loss. It was the issues that emanated from government relative to the global crisis that has come, the supply chain issues, the COVID issues, the COVID Ukraine, the Ukraine-Russian war issues, the standard of living in which people had complained in most of these particular instances was not a misconduct from party. It was something that was coming from the government practices. And this is something that everybody knows. No party in this country has been able to break the 8-year jinx. So apathy certainly sets in.
So Kodua should not be blamed for the electoral loss.
Because he was not the one that occasioned the loss. He was part of the leadership, and those contestants were part because they were even beneficiaries in those particular elections. And if you are going to analyze Kodua against one election, you'll be wrong. If you are going to analyze the performance of General Secretary Lawyer Kodua on one elections, you'll be wrong. Because this is his first elections. All the processes or things that gave input into the elections was not occasioned or passed through him. I told you about the preparation of the internal elections album, which is the polling station. Where you have the biggest problem is polling station. All the problems that generated in polling station will travel his way into the 2024 elections because he came and took over as General Secretary in 2022. And all the issues that came from the internal reorganization drifted itself into the 2024 election. And that is why when he came, he decided that no, what should we do? We need to extend and build upon the human resource base of the party. He led the amendment of over 50 amendment that was done in our party, calling together to ensure that former party executives, former government appointees, former MMDCEs, former regional executives, TESCOM presidents must be specific, TESCOM patrons has to be added to the album, and all these people have a stake to take in terms of how we make decisions in our party. So we expand the base. Then you go further to ask yourself, what has been very critical for us? The party ideological school is something that is very good for all of us. Here, this has been on the drawing board. It took the leadership of lawyer Justin Kodua Frimpong to be able to make it materialize. And nobody can challenge this particular instance, what has happened. And when you look at also the performance of the party in terms of how we represent ourselves, in terms of sector and units that we have to work through. Lawyer Justin Kodua has been able to come up with the sector committees. The sector committees are going to be responsible to get the policy directions and make sure that we strengthen what the flag bearer has to do. We strengthen whatever the flag bearer has to do. We also make sure that we have an inclusion with the persons with disability to be able to work through and help the MPP party to be able to galvanize forces and add numbers to be able to win elections. A lot of things have been done under Lawyer Justin Kodua.
Right,
and
that's fine.
When you come to the internal party issues, he has come down to the grassroots. All the time he's with them, he communicates with them, he makes sure that National Council, NEC meetings and all that comes on appropriately as enshrined in the party's constitution.
Okay, so what then does Justin Kodua Frimpong secretaryship bring to the fortunes of your flag bearer, Mahmoud Bawumia, going into the 2028 elections?
Now, he is something that has been prepared for this job. He's prepared because he has gone through all with the flag bearer. He has gone through all the difficult moments. He has tested 2 years of government. He has tested 2 years of opposition. He's been able to put himself in that particular turbulent situation. He's able to manage. He has not run away from all the problems. He's able to understand the problems. Having commissioned a committee, the Professor Michael Quay's committee, to look into the defeat of the party, the report is with him. He is picking the issues and implementing them one after the other. One of the issues was to have a first to conduct the presidential primaries. We have been able to do that successfully. The other issue for us to do was to make sure that the polling station level reorganization is done and done properly. And as we speak today, every rank and file of the party today will tell you that the polling station election and reorganization has been done and done very well. It has been very transparent. It has been very open to. Then we need to also make sure that the party structures work. So he has also commissioned through the National Council for the party executive manual. That manual has been completed. It is in its final editing period, and the training of party executives across the country is one thing that is going to happen. Then, for him as General Secretary, the Electoral Affairs Officer, the Research Officer will be performing magic in the next elections. Specific works will be given to them in terms of the role that they have to play to police the ballot, to police the results, and to ensure that the right results is being declared. Again, the legal committee, the legal directive has been sent down to the constituency level. So as we speak, at every constituency level, we have legal representation, and at the regional level, we have a lawyer as part of the executives of the regional executive committee. So a lot of things are there for lawyer Justin Kodua to do. Apart from that, when you win power, or when you win as general secretary or the national leadership, and power comes, you need to manage the power. So he has been able to put in plans as to how the party is going to get involved and how to mobilize resources to be able to support the party executive to be able to perform their duties. As we state now, the platform that has been used for the dues collection was developed by him. He made sure that the Deputy Director IT developed that particular platform for revenue generation. So if given the mandate to continue, for him, he is going to continue the rebuilding process because he has started it. Any other person that will come now will be asking himself or herself what exactly you are going to do. And we all know, certainly there's going to be a new national chairman. There's going to be new national vice chairman, except Chairman Masaudu. If he sails through, he will be the only person that will be there that will be an old person because he's contesting for that particular position. There will be a new national women organizer. There will be a new national treasurer. There will be a new national organizer. There will be a new national youth organizer. There will be a new national Nasara organizer. In all these instances, they are going to be new. Institutional memory is very key. And Lawyer Justin Kodua Frimpong has presented himself, has performed his duty, has accorded that respect, has been very transparent, has been very open, has been very accountable, and he resonates very well with the people of the MPP. And I believe that among his contenders, I think that he's far ahead of his contenders.
Aside from being the spokesperson of Justin Kodua, you're also a party executive, you are the Deputy General Secretary. Apart from your boss, who else filed nominations today?
In the National Youth Organizer position, I understand one gentleman that they call CID filed his nomination today. Apart from him, I can't remember any other person because
I was at the party headquarters and he came. After which I came here, I don't know whether another person has gone to file his or her nomination today.
Wood to me, who has been convicted for 20 years, his campaign team picked nomination forms for him last week. Have they filed it yet?
Well, I'm not a member of the elections committee. And the elections committee, there has been specific guidelines that has been issued for the party in Article 18 of the party's constitution, where those particular guidelines will be issued to support the constitution of the party. So the elections committee has also put together a vetting committee. So if indeed they have picked nomination, the verdict of that particular group lies in the elections committee vis-a-vis the vetting committee to communicate whether he's eligible to contest or whether he can be cleared to contest. But I, as an individual, will not be able to tell whether the picking of the nomination is enough for us to say that he can contest for that particular position.
His incarceration has been described by the party, the MPP, as a political persecution. You've always maintained that he's been kept because of his political affiliations with the New Patriotic Party. So will that mean that the party will likely bend the knee for him to be able to contest? Because clearly within your party constitution, Wontumi does not qualify to run for any position now that he's been incarcerated. I remember you went back and forth with me on radio some time ago that it wasn't anywhere in your party constitution that he was eligible to contest. But your party constitution is clear that Wontumi is not eligible to contest. So what's going to happen? Are you going to bend the knee for him?
Kenneth, I never said it's not anywhere in our party constitution. A wrong provision was quoted, and I said that particular provision is not that provision. So if you give me the right provision, then I respond to that. But certainly responding to this particular matter, I think I'm very clear on that. People have been given the mandate to operate and to assess the people who are presenting themselves for this. And they have been given terms of reference.
Right.
And in that particular terms of reference, there's a guideline. There's also the constitution. So for us to make such a determination, whether this is in our party constitution and what has to be applied, then we'd have to leave that to the vetting committee, then the elections committee, to determine that whether he actually meets the criteria, and if the constitution do say so, what is the position of the vetting and the elections committee.
There was an extension of the picking of nominations. What occasioned that?
Because I'm not a member of the committee.
Oh, you're unable to tell.
Because if it is about the party, like you've asked me of the minority, I'll still speak because my mandate as Deputy General Secretary has not expired. So I'll speak for the party. But if it is a question about the elections, I'm a stakeholder in the election. And because of that, I'm not part of the elections committee. So once it is a mandate of a committee, the committee should be responding to all matters that concerns the elections. Because if I do so, the credibility of the elections committee will be questioned because I have an interest in the election. So I should not be seen to be responding to matters that I am not a committee of.
Okay. You rightly mentioned that. Is it Masaudu? And then your boss will be the people who are likely to remain where they are because they are the only ones who are running again for virtually the same position. That means that you're going to have new faces within almost every sphere of your leadership, the NPP. Do you think that will resonate with people? Do you think that going into the 2028 elections, that will give you a boost or otherwise in terms of your likelihood of winning the elections because there will be new faces within your administration?
Yes, if you look at those particular faces too, for the vice chairmanship position, the national organizer, the current national organizer is contesting in that particular role. So should he win or should he be part of those who will emerge from the vice chairmanship, even though he's new to that position, but he's not new to the organization of the party. In the women organizers role too, the deputy national women organizer is contesting. In the event that she wins, she will not be new to the national women organizer position because she has been a deputy national women organizer in that particular role. I think these are the current national officers who are contesting. There is one that is contesting our position, but I don't think that there is that particular scenario that is going to happen.
Haruna Mohammed, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. He's the Deputy General Secretary of the Opposition NPP. You're still watching The Pulse. Let's bring you more stories this afternoon because the Center for Democratic Development, CDD, Ghana, will bring you that story right after this break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to The Pulse. The Center for Democratic Development is calling for a new legal framework to regulate political party financing, campaign spending, and elections in this country, citing gaps in the country's current electoral system. With less than 2 months until the new patriotic party's internal national executive elections, CDD says the absence of clear and comprehensive rules on campaign financing and party elections leaves significant gaps in the electoral process and could create risks for Ghana's democracy. Listen to William Nyako, who is a consultant for CDD Ghana on political campaign finance and executive director of the African Center for International Law and Accountability.
To 2028, the nomination and filing fees astronomical. Because the state, if it accepts, will be footing the bill for the internal party primaries. There's no justification for having that filing fees. But the parties will tell you that they need the filing fees and nomination fees to organize the election. State takes over assembly. Let's look at, of course, as part of it, abuse of incumbency really will be part of it. Let's look at the violations and we'll begin to the penalties framework in the model law. The fines, 5,000 penalty units. The penalty units is how much? 12. Right, so at 60,000, right? Depending on the nature of the violation, it can go up to even preventing you from running for election. So let's look at it a few of the details.
What medical experts describe as extremely rare and biologically uncommon has occurred in the Ashanti region, where a 55-year-old woman has given birth to triplets after 25 years of marriage without a child. The woman, identified as Linda Ampofo, a member of the Church of Pentecost in Afenyo-Markin district of the Kwadoso area, gave birth to triplets on January 13th this year to the glory of God. Family members and church leaders described the birth as a miracle and an answer to years of prayers. Here's a report from Francis Mensah.
Having experienced miscarriages several times in her 4th month, with the final one occurring in 2014, she was confident God would intervene in her situation and grant her a family. Despite not having children, Mrs. Linda Ampofo, being the firstborn of her parents, she was unaffected by her younger siblings' private lives.
Nyamena wo ye adwuma tetemere mu oda so ye erade ye nwotwe nipa nso no obi awo nenko ana me wo ye nti me maame akoma nto ne yam ewo me ho.
All my 7 siblings had children except me. This was disheartening and I thought I had wronged God. Now His mercy has shown. When they told me I was pregnant with triplets, I went crazy. I lost my pregnancies as a young lady. How much more as an old woman? It was hard to believe, but all the prayers worked.
They said, "Doctor, me be fie. Me amen to me amen. If you say me who was so to say, me be say me. Ya funu ben. I would be ben. Me ya ba yampo. Mienu baye esaye nena manyina wi awrade mesra wo baako wacha me miensa ene ebo ho ban ampa papa nyame adom ne mo mpaibo.
Together with husband Deacon Kwame Ampofo, church leaders, family, friends and members of the Church of Pentecost, the new mother, adorned in white with gladness, glorified the name of God for the marvelous things done unto her. Linda's husband, Mr. Kwame Ampofo, disclosed that although he was sometimes discouraged as a married man without children, he was confident that God will reward him for diligently seeking him all times. He added that the new development has transformed his faith to serve God better in every circumstances.
Enti munyai na we nko wale na we so nko wale na bi kura ho a omode ne yesa we fa ha we mutumi nya bi nti e basa na mso mi se heaven na me pe akọ enye nipa sa da se menya bi o mi nya bi o ni nyina ejina nyame so sa botai na me de madwi nyina si so se nyame eni nipa hwambo na wo yo kan se broni ntra na safu nti se broni ntra na safu mu dia na awurade ada na yeso Americal,
Francis Mensah's report for Joy News.
A miracle indeed. You're still watching The Pulse. Now, a key suspect in the Ayawaso West Wogan by-election violence, popularly known as Ernest Akomia, remains at large with actively pursuing him to face justice. That is according to the Interior Minister, Mohammed Muntaka Mubarak, who spoke today at the Accountability Series. Speaking at the presidency, he gave an update on key arrests that have been made and ongoing prosecutions relating to the 2020 and 24 election violence. He said the police will continue to pursue all other suspects and support the prosecution of those already before the courts. The Ayawaso West Wogan by-election held on January 31st, 2019 was marked by violence at the Lahabalishi Presby polling station where masked men reportedly linked to national security assaulted and shot several people.
Undertaking covert operation to identify person who shot and killed the deceased Samira Zakaria and injured 3 others. Ayawaso West Wogan, that's Labawashi. At a key suspect identified by police investigation, Ernest Akomia alias Double, is still at large, and intensive operational steps are underway to apprehend and prosecute him. Tachiman South, that's Tachiman, the former written autopsy report in respect of the deceased Mohammed Tajuddin Al-Hassan and Abdullah Ayarik have been obtained from the medical officer who conducted the autopsy. A duplicate docket is being prepared to be forwarded to the Attorney General Office for study and advice. The trial of the 3 accused persons is ongoing before the High Court 1, Accra. The next court date is October 12, 2026. Awutu Senya Constituency, that's Kaswa. Awutu Senya East Constituency, that's Kaswa. Member of Parliament Honorable Phyllis Na Koyo Akono and her sister Gifty Akono have submitted their written statement to the Special Investigation Task Force. Investigative effort to locate Mustafa Mohammed, the driver in charge of the Black Hawk Mahindra pickup, on which the deceased victim, Idris Larry Yusuf, was shot, are still ongoing.
That's the Minister for the Interior, Mohammed Muntaka Mubarak. Our Presidential Affairs correspondent, Maxwell Agbagba, is joining me live from the Jubilee House with the very latest. Maxwell, the Minister for the Interior also gave a breakdown of the figures from the recent floods, and he said that 39 deaths were recorded nationwide. Give us more details.
Yes, we know that following that flooding incident in parts of the country, the post-mitigation flood committee was put together. And since then, they have been going around dredging some of the country's drainage systems. And we understand that that is going to continue all year round. Just last week, some dredging at the Lafa Basin in the Wejak municipality also started. So we see work going on in that regard. But at the accountability series today, like you mentioned, the Interior Minister actually gave a breakdown of the figures. He stated that 7 regions in total were affected by the floods. He also stated that a little over 91,000 people were also affected by the floods. He said that 39 deaths were recorded nationwide and one person, a 4-month baby, is still missing. We can hear from him.
June, where 77 districts were affected in 7 regions nationwide with a flood. A total of 91,989 persons from 18,398 households were victims of the disaster. 1 person remained missing for a 4-month baby at Ghana East, and 39 deaths. And you can see the table that we provided. The regions, Volta region, the number of districts that were affected was 7. The total number of affected persons was 9,466. The total number of deaths were 4. Greater Accra, the number of districts that were affected were 27. The number of persons that were affected were 56,022. And the number of deaths that we had was 17. Central region, 16 districts were affected. 21,882 persons were affected. And the number of deaths in Central region was 18. Western region, Western North, we had 6 districts that were affected. 937 were affected. No death. No death was recorded in the case of Western North. Western region proper, 2 districts were affected, and the number of persons that were affected was 2,031. In Eastern region, only 1 district was affected, and the number of persons that were affected were 190. In Asante,
Maxwell Agbagba is still with me live from the Jubilee House. Maxwell, what else has the minister been talking about?
Well, he has been talking about some of the innovations being currently rolled out under the Interior Ministry. Key amongst them is the rollout of the traffic tech system, which will be rolled out by the MTTD very soon. Now, the traffic tech actually allows the Ghana Police Service, the MTTD, to be specific, to identify drivers who commit road traffic infractions on our road. So basically, we'd have cameras monitoring our roads. And so for drivers who jump red lights, for drivers who overspeed, for drivers who overtake unnecessarily, for any road traffic infraction, this traffic tech system, which uses specially designed cameras, will be able to identify the offenders and then issue out penalties for them, and then the modes of payment for the various offenses. So we're told that that should be rolled out in September. The Interior Minister has also been talking about what we call the NACPIS. So it's an automated biometric system that allows people who've engaged in crime to be documented in that particular system. It's an integrated system. He stated that previously, if you needed security clearance for, let's say, school or any other application, you needed to go to the CID headquarters to get that security clearance. But when this system is rolled out and decentralized across Ghana's districts, what it means is that if you need a security clearance, you just have to walk into any district and you'll be able to get that. What it does also is that it's going to help the Ghana Police Service to be able to fight and deal with crime, effectively. He's also been giving updates on the situation on our streets. A lot of people have had concerns about beggar migrants on our streets. He gave an update that at the end of 2025, the Ministry of Interior was able to send a little over 2,000 of them back to their countries. Now, more than 700 illegal immigrants engaged in organized transnational crime were also repatriated back to their countries. He also gave an update on the 2026 figures. 906 beggar migrants were also sent back to their countries, and then quite a number of illegal immigrants engaged in organized crime were also sent back to their countries. He's also been talking about retooling for Ghana's security services, and these, amongst many other things, many updates he gave here at the Jubilee House. So
Maxwell Agbagba, thank you very much. That's our resident correspondent from the seat of government. The Minister of Labour, Jobs and Employment, Rashid Pelpo, has urged employers and other stakeholders to support the 2026 Health, Environment, Safety and Security Leadership Conference by providing inputs into key proposals aimed at ensuring healthier workplaces and employee safety. The sector minister believes this year's conference should be the turning point for improved occupational standards and environmental safety.
The 2026 Annual Health, Environment, Safety and Security Conference is expected to spark wider conversations on environmental protection, improved occupational standards, and safer workplaces. Under the theme, Building Leadership that Protects Lives, Preserves the Environment, and Secures the Future, the conference will bring together stakeholders from mining, manufacturing, oil and gas, trading, government, and the private sector. It will provide a platform for government, employers, workers, academia, and development partners to discuss workplace safety, health, employment, and emerging occupational risk. The sector minister, Dr. Abdul Rashid Purpo, says the ministry expects the discussions to produce proposals that can help shape government policy.
In the workplace, within the public sector and as well as in the private sector, HES, as we know, stands for Health, Environment, Safety and Security, which are very critical at every workplace. And as they go into have a conference about it is bringing together all stakeholders that are concerned about the health of workers, the security of workers. And we particularly are very, very eager to see that this conference comes on and leaves behind a fundamental policy direction for us to adopt into the government's policy direction. So HES as a partner is an organization we so much have trust in.
Presenting the working document to the minister, Prince Obin Aful, an advisory council member of the HES Leadership Conference, pledged a stronger partnership with the ministry, particularly towards the proposed Occupational Safety and Health Bill, which seeks to establish a unified national framework for workplace safety.
So we are also health, safety, and environment managers from the various industries. So we have people from the gold mining side, petroleum, food manufacturing, and then we have people also from the consultancy section as well.
The conference is expected to deepen collaboration among stakeholders and advance efforts to make Ghanaian workplaces safer, healthier, and more sustainable.
Let's bring you education-related stories this afternoon because the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, GTEC, has trained officials of mentor universities and affiliated colleges of education on a new quality assurance framework aimed at strengthening oversight and improving the quality of tertiary education partnerships. The GTEC Affiliation Quality Assurance Framework provides a structured system for monitoring and evaluating the relationship between mentor universities and affiliated colleges of education. The framework requires participating institutions to jointly assess their performance twice every academic year to ensure mutual development and improve the academic standing of affiliated universities. Here is a report.
Work has 25 indicators scored on a 4-level scale. The institutions scoring below 55% in any domain will trigger GTEC intervention, while persistent gaps without credible institutions scoring below 55% in any domain will trigger GTEC intervention, while persistent gaps without credible improvement efforts could lead to escalated engagement by the Commission. The Director General of the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, Professor Ahmed Jinapo Abdullahi, has assured that the framework is not intended to punish institutions.
These domains have been carefully chosen to cover the full spectrum of our responsibilities. We have academic oversight, which ensures that our curriculum are not just delivered, but delivered with excellence and relevance. We have professional practice and school partnerships designed to bridge the persistent gap between theoretical instruction and the stark realities of Ghanaian classroom. There's assessment and standards, which maintains the integrity and credibility of the certification we award to our teachers. We also emphasize research collaboration and knowledge production, moving us beyond mere knowledge consumption towards the creation of new knowledge that addresses our unique challenges. Without any equivocation, that this framework is not an instrument for punishment. It is first and foremost a supportive tool designed to provide clarity, objectivity, and predictability in our reporting processes. It challenges us to be honest with ourselves and self-aware. Where evidence of effective practice is lacking, it compels us to identify priority areas and propose clear, actionable remediation plans with defined actions and realistic timelines.
Professor Samuel Atintonio said the framework will provide institutions with a structured pathway for continuous improvement in the delivery of teacher education.
If you have to train teachers, and then it's the case that you need to have, let's say, 50 teachers or lecturers to teach, and you have 25 of them, it definitely will affect what is happening in the classroom. It means that we have to find a way. Is there an opportunity to recruit more teachers? Or is there an opportunity to get part-timers? These are things. If you are training teachers, your library doesn't have the resources that you have to train, let's say you are training early grade or science, and you don't have it. It simply means that you cannot be doing that program. You may need to make sure you have a lab or find some other resources that can promote the teaching and learning in that area.
For Joy News, my name is Clinton Yabwa.
The Paramount Chief calls it the heartbeat of Doraemon. After 10 years of inactivity, the E-Block Community Day SHS is now 85% complete. Speaking after the inspection, Na Alhaji Seidu Sablini II expressed satisfaction with the progress of work so far. He noted that the absence of a secondary school in the area has placed a heavy burden on families who are forced to send their children to distant districts for secondary and TVET education. Joy News was there and reports.
For 10 years, it sat here, empty, silent, a promise forgotten. Today, the Doromo E-Block is waking up. Members of the Doromo Traditional Council just toured the site, and for the first time in a decade, there's real hope. Speaking after the inspection, the Paramount Chief of the Doromo Traditional area, Na Alhaji Seidu Tungbani Selembili II, expressed satisfaction with the progress.
It's really the heartbeat of the traditional area. Gave the backdrop of the fact that people are yearning for secondary education, especially TVET education. Sons and daughters, up till now, still go to other districts for secondary and TVET education. We don't have one. And it is as a result of this abundant people.
The project began under the first administration of John Dramani Mahama, but is stalled for nearly 10 years after a change in government. Now it is back and more than 80% complete. Also speaking, Queen Mother of Gu, Pona Sandia Munembansanya the First, highlighted what the delay has cost young girls.
Community without a secondary education is hindering progress of the children. Especially the girls are dropping out because of the lack of secondary education. I mean secondary school in the community, in the traditional area. And so we are grateful that this secondary school is progressing.
Vice President Jane Nano Poku-Agyemang has delivered a major assurance to farmers in the Bono East region, pledging government action to drastically reduce post-harvest losses under the Feed Ghana program. She made the commitment at the grand climax of the Meko Bono Homecoming and Festival in Atetbubu, where she delivered a message that resonated deeply with the predominantly farming population, a promise of jobs, wealth, and agric transformation. Anna Sabit has more.
There is a certain magic that awakens when the Bono people gather. Today, that magic transcended upon Atetbubu like a gentle yet powerful tide. This was not just a festival. This was a pilgrimage, a homecoming from across the length and breadth of Ghana and from shores far beyond. The sons and daughters of the Bono kingdom heeded the call of the ancestral drums. They came to honor the soil that birthed them and to actively shape the future they will inherit. The Atibu-Manhene and chairman of the Meko Bono Advisory Board, His Royal Majesty Ohimpon Dr. Yeboah Asiama, welcomed his people home with a voice that resonated with the wisdom of ages. He reminded all present that the festival is the thread that weaves the Bono identity together, a sacred covenant between the living, the departed, and the unborn. Today, as Bono people, we have exhibited our old beautiful tradition to the world. And as we climax this festival today, I stand on behalf of the Atibu Traditional Council to welcome all of you and thank you as well for the support over the period. Addressing the gathering, Ghana's Vice President struck a chord that echoed the hopes of the farming communities who form the backbone of this region. She pledged a renewed push to minimize post-harvest losses, boost agricultural yields, and generate sustainable wealth through the Feed Ghana initiative.
Agriculture remains central to the local economy. Our farmers produce maize, yam, and other crops for this municipality and for other markets beyond it. The task is not simply to produce more. We must reduce post-harvest losses, improve storage and market access, support processing, and ensure that farming provides better and more reliable incomes for our farmers. That is reflected in the Feed Ghana program, which emphasizes food production, storage, processing, and stronger agricultural value chains.
Professor Nana Opoku-Agyeman further admonished the people to let this festival preserve the history and tradition of the Bono people through togetherness, thereby creating partnerships for development.
5 years is an important milestone for this occasion. It should also be a beginning. Let this festival continue to preserve the history and traditions of Bono Man, and let it become a meeting place for the ideas, relationships, and partnerships that can contribute to development.
The president of the Bono Regional House of Chiefs, Osajifo Osiadeyo Agyeman Badu II, stood as a pillar of unity. He lauded the breathtaking togetherness of the Bono people, declaring that their solidarity is a radiant example for the entire nation. In his words, when the Bono stand together, they do not just survive, they thrive. I thank the Bono people. Here in Ghana, there is unity in all the various regions, but I can say without fear that the strength and unity amongst the Bono people is unparalleled. And then the heart of the festival came alive. The air thickened with the intoxicating beat of the phantom from drums. The Adwa dancers told stories with their feet, their movements a living library of Bono history. Young and old moved as one, a spectacular tapestry of resilience, beauty, and unshakable pride. It was a reminder that culture is not a relic of the past, it is the engine of the future. As the sun began to dip over Atibubu, one truth stood undeniable. The Meko Bono homecoming has transcended being just an event. It has become a movement that honors the past, embraces the present, and fearlessly forges a future of shared prosperity rooted in the unbreakable spirit of the Bono people. Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Atibubu.
With skin bleaching continuing to pose health concerns, the DJ Foundation is stepping up efforts to educate young people about the risks associated with the practice and encourage them to embrace their natural skin complexion. As part of the campaign, the foundation visited senior high schools in the Aguna East District of the Central Region to sensitize students to the potential health effects of skin bleaching and promote greater awareness and self-acceptance among young people.
In fact, I'm really impressed by the wonderful work that the DJ Foundation is doing by helping in educating our girls, child, or the boys to stop bleaching.
The initiative, which was launched last year, seeks to educate senior high school students on the dangers associated with skin bleaching and promotes the acceptance of natural skin tones. Founder of the DJ Foundation and Deputy Director of Nursing and Midwifery Services at the Cape Coast Metropolitan Health Directorate, Dora Jones-Yedu, explained the significance of the campaign and why senior high school students remain a key target group.
We've done the research. We need to disseminate it. We need people to know what is happening and for people to appreciate their natural skin tone. So we launched it last year in Cape Coast. We launched the first beauty pageant, Beauty and Handsome pageant in Cape Coast, where we had males and females that were dark, because the focus is on dark skin because they are more liable to bleach their skin. Because of this mentality that we have from colonialism, that when you are dark, you are not beautiful. It affects our self-esteem. We are making our dark-skinned people to appreciate that dark is beautiful, and we are saying it loud. So after the launch, we decided to go into schools, secondary schools, to let them know this is the situation and how to avoid skin bleaching. We coined a theme, and the theme is that we are unveiling the cosmetic menace. We are letting people understand the dangers and impact of skin bleaching. Yeah, so with the support also of the Regional Director for Education, Dr. Juliet Otami, she informs schools, and we are into schools. We are here also with the Queens, the first runner-up and the winner.
She also appealed to individuals and organizations to support the initiative.
Our challenge is that we are sponsoring everything by ourselves. A lot of people have given us the blessings, the moral support, but we also need the financial support, because when we are moving into schools, it's all about money. Yeah? So at this moment, it's only DJ Foundation that is sponsoring. So we want people who share this vision with us to come on board.
Director of Education for the Agona East District, Phyllis Asante Krobia, commended the foundation for taking the campaign to young people.
The idea is that everything white, when you are fair, you are beautiful, and you are better than the person who is dark. By looking at where we are coming from, the melanin in the body also has a role to play. You know, God in his own wisdom knew we'll be in this area and that we needed to protect us. Nowadays, we have been seeing children having cancer, and the skin is the largest organ of our body. So if the children are applying harsh creams, soaps and other things, most of them, because they do not know, once they are in school and we are giving holistic education, there's an opportunity for them to get to know. When they get to know this and they go home, they can also educate their other children and their parents. So I believe that it is a laudable idea that this education should go to all the other schools, not only in Agona East, all the schools in the region and even national, so that they get to know the essence of maintaining their natural color. It is very good. Education is holistic, and they should know what they are taking and what they are applying. And I'm glad that they came to my district.
Senior staff nurse at Chifuhimanluwa Dentra and winner of the maiden edition of the foundation's Black Beauty pageant, Charlotte Edumante, also encouraged young people to embrace their natural complexion.
We have been painted with the colors of our heritage. We must love ourselves as who we are. We will get so many complications whenever you bleach your skin. You can get dark knuckles. You will get hyperpigmentation. That is the name on our cheeks. You see people that bleach, they will get those dark pigmentations on their faces and then their dark knuckles. You can also get skin cancer. There are so many complications that are connected to bleaching your skin. So whenever you bleach your skin and then you are getting all these complications, it means that you are dying out. And it is going to cause a whole lot of complications like kidney diseases, cancer, and then you'll be having a slow wound healing. It will be very difficult for your wound to heal quickly. There will be times that when your skin stretches a lot, whenever your skin is being sutured, it will keep tearing off. They won't get any skin to suture again. So please, loving yourself is the most important thing. Believing in who you are as a person. When you are confident in yourself, There's nothing that can deter you or make you deviate from who you are.
From the Agona East District, Abigail Lisol-Nkrumah reports for Joy News.
The Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, DVLA, is rolling out instant printing of replacement drivers' license cards in a move expected to end the long delays motorists face in receiving them. The new system will allow DVLA offices across the country to print replacement cards locally instead of relying on a central printing point. Speaking at the commissioning of new offices at Kwabienya and Amrahia, the DVLA Chief Executive Julius Nikwe-Kote said the move will make license replacement faster and more accessible for motorists.
Under the new arrangement, eligible drivers will be able to have replacement cards printed at the DVLA offices, while first-time applicants will continue to have their licenses printed at the head office. Chief Executive Officer Julius Nikwe-Kote said the instant printing system will be restricted to drivers who have been in the licensing system for more than 6 years.
We are currently going to undertake what we call instant printing of cards. Now, every office will be mandated to print cards that have been replaced. Replacement of cards is different from renewal of cards. Renewal is done every 2 years, and replacement is done every 6 years. So if you are more than 6 years in the system, your card will be replaced for you and printed instant for you. But if you are coming to seek new service, to seek for a new for a driver's license, you go to the ISO specified time, which is 3 months, to obtain your physical card.
The authority has also built safeguards into the system to prevent the instant printing facility from being abused. Julius Nikwe-Kote says motorists who have misplaced their licenses before completing 6 years in the system will require clearance from the head office before a replacement can be printed.
With this machine, you can get your VRS card and again get the instant printing card to work. So what happens is that when you are more than 6 years in the system, that is, you are coming for replacement of your license, this machine will be used to instantly print the card for you. But when you are coming for a new license, that one goes to a centralized place, that is at head office for printing. Because with the new license, we have to go to the ISO specified time, that is 3 months. But with you, that is already in the system, you've driven for more than 6 years, we'll print your card for you instant.
He says maintaining the 3-month process for first-time applicants is also necessary to prevent people from bypassing the licensing requirement.
So for first-timers, we'll be printing from the head office to control the issue where someone may come first-time and get a license on that same day. That will also cause more accidents on our roads. So we are saying that if you are a first-timer, you have to go through the 3-month system and obtain your license.
The DVLA says the new system is undergoing final testing, with October to December expected to serve as a balancing period before full implementation in January. For Joy News, Evelyn Ampa.
In other stories this evening, persons living with disabilities are demanding accessible websites, mobile applications, and online services, warning that Ghana's digital transformation risks excluding them. They say poorly designed digital platforms continue to make it difficult to access information, essential services, and economic opportunities independently. Deborah Animwa-Bede reports.
Open Knowledge Ghana, in partnership with the Internet Society Ghana chapter, brought together persons with disabilities, web developers, and technology experts to address barriers to digital accessibility. Visually impaired Yinasa Susas, navigating some online platforms with assistive technology remains challenging because of poor design.
There are some websites that have not been configured such that me using my speech softwares can access them easily. For instance, you go to a website, you are scrolling. It's supposed to read everything on the website so I know what it is I am experiencing. Except that for some websites, because they haven't been configured well, you have a situation where you are not able to experience the website the way you are supposed to. Let's say you even want to fill a form and submit it, and you are able to fill everything except that button that says submit has not been activated so that you can hear it and then activate, submit to submit the form, you have been excluded.
Web developer and disability inclusion specialist Afenyo-Markin says developers must make accessibility a priority from the beginning of the design process.
I believe by doing this project, for instance, it gives developers and the persons with disabilities themselves a chance to meet and see how best developers, who are the people who are creating these platforms, can give chance and get the necessary knowledge to make it possible for any PWD who is visiting their website to be able to utilize it.
University of Ghana lecturer and disability inclusion specialist David Kolete says the workshop is helping persons with disabilities test digital platforms and helping developers better understand their experiences.
We have very good and competent technical people here who are going to take them through something we call the Web Accessibility Guidelines. These are guidelines that every website that is online should be able to follow so that a person with a disability can follow or have proper access to it.
President of the Internet Society Ghana chapter, Dr. Maud Ajele Ashon Elliott, says persons with disabilities must be involved from the beginning when digital platforms are being developed.
The idea is that whilst we are doing this, we expect them to actively participate and also sort of identify some gaps that we might not have seen, which we could include when we are doing web development.
As more public services move online, Trash Digital Rights focal person Elias Mane says government platforms must also be designed to serve persons with disabilities.
So I found it expedient and very important to interact at first and with lived experience from the disability community and the challenges that they go through accessing digital platforms.
Stakeholders are urging government and developers to strengthen accessibility standards and digital skills training to ensure no one is excluded from Ghana's digital future. For Joy News, Deborah Inimwa, Beidu's report, read to you.
After the break, we talk about tourism in the country. Don't go anywhere. Hello again. Professor of Tourism Management at the University of Cape Coast, Akufo-Addo, has called for the decentralization of Ghana's tourism governance structures to give metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies greater control and participation in the development of the sector. Speaking at his inaugural lecture, Professor Adam argued that a more decentralized approach would enable local communities to retain a greater share of the economic benefits generated by tourism, while using them to drive development at the local level.
The Vice-Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, Professor Dennis Wolanyo-Aheto, described the inaugural lecture as a demonstration of academic expertise and an advancement of global research.
Beyond the celebration, the lecture is also a showcase of expertise. Professors present the essence of their scholarly work, their lifelong research, what they truly profess, and their contributions to global knowledge. It also serves as a means of public engagement, bridging the university and society by making advanced research accessible to wider audiences. Perhaps today is one of those rare moments when you can freely speak your mind without the weight of accountability. Today's lecture is the 6th lecture in the series, and it's particularly significant, especially for me, as it's the first to be held following my appointment as a substantive Vice-Chancellor of our university. It is therefore my pleasure to welcome you all to the 6th professorial inaugural lecture to be delivered by Professor Akufo-Addo.
Speaking on the topic, the autopilot dilemma, conscious and coordinated or piecemeal and opportunistic approach to Ghana's tourism development journey, Professor of Tourism Management at the University of Cape Coast, Professor Akufo-Addo, called for a shift in the ownership and management of tourism investments.
We must also have a tourism master plan. I know we've had a number of plans, but this plan must take a destination development perspective, and we must commit to it in terms of developing it. We must also decentralize existing structures to allow more participation at the local level, to allow city councils or MMDAs to invest and own tourism investments, mainly in area of tourism infrastructure. I believe with such a structure, CCMA would have been able to do what I'm suggesting and would not perhaps be waiting for the central government to come and do it.
He argued that this will allow communities to retain more of the economic benefits generated from tourism and ensure the sector contributes directly to local development.
And so it also fits into the puzzle why Cape Coast, even though prides itself as the supposed tourism hub, but has nothing to show for it. Why? Because we have nothing, so people don't stay here. It's simply an arena, a theater, where they come and perform tourism and leave the same day and go. And if they don't stay, they don't spend, your local economy does not benefit from tourism. It's simply a stage, like I'm standing on now. Come and perform and leave, and that is it. It ends. And so we need to consciously decentralize and allow the local participation in product.
From Cape Coast, Abigail Linkoma reports for Joy News.
Well, still in the central region, improving access to education has taken a practical turn in Cape Coast, where selected day students have received bicycles to help ease transportation challenges and support regular school attendance. The intervention, led by the Cape Coast Youth Development Association, a 2026 Joy News Impact Makers awardee, in collaboration with Barbados-based REC Advisory Group, saw 20 bicycles presented to students within the Cape Coast metropolis. The Chief Executive Officer of REC Advisory Group, Kimberly Henry, said the initiative is aimed at removing barriers that could prevent students from accessing quality education and giving them a better opportunity to succeed in life.
To educate yourself, there are components one has to have a proper education. One of which is how even to get to the place to get the education. And this is what you have addressed for us, at least for some of our children.
The initiative forms part of efforts to promote educational opportunities and empower young people within the Cape Coast metropolis. The Barbados High Commissioner to Ghana, Dr. Juliet Bino Sutherland, who facilitated the partnership between the two organizations, explained the importance of using the association as a channel to create meaningful impacts in the community.
So we had an equal number of boys and girls who are benefiting. And because of that professionalism, responsiveness, we saw how well this organization works. And that's important to donors. Transparency, structure, responsiveness. We know that we're going to do more work with the Cape Coast Youth Association. Dr. Lindsay is a very credible patron and steward. He set the tone, he promoted and introduced us to the organization. So in so partnering with them, we're really making sure that our message and our values of Barbados are demonstrated right here in Cape Coast.
Following the presentation, Chief Executive Officer of the REC Advisory Group, Dr. Kimberly Henry, highlighted the expected benefits of the initiative, particularly in supporting students' access to education.
The expectation for students is to be their best selves, is to have an opportunity to explore educational opportunities without the challenge of how they can access them. So when we first were given a list of students, it was 90% boys. And obviously, I'm a girl child from a girl mother, and I said that's not going to work. So we needed to also eliminate that barrier, the gender barrier, which is very, very prevalent here in Ghana, particularly when you talk about educational access. And so now, having an equal number of beneficiaries, we can rest assured that all students that receive some assistance will be able to explore their educational opportunities and their professional aspirations in ways that give them time back, whether they have to spend more time studying, whether they're able to spend more time resting so that they can acquire the necessary information when they get to class, or whether they're just able to enjoy all of the things that their school environment has to offer. Being able to reduce the time spent just getting to school is a huge, huge opportunity for them.
The patron of the Cape Coast Youth Development Association and Chancellor of the Cape Coast Technical University, Dr. James Kondria Orleans-Lindsay, encouraged the beneficiaries to take advantage of the tertiary education opportunities available in the city.
As Chancellor of the Cape Coast Technical University, I expect that at least 30% of basically the students will be indigents. That is what we are driving at. We can't have two big universities in the city with less than 10% being indigents. It should be a deliberate act for the indigents also to enjoy what the city has been able to achieve for them. And so it is a worry for me, but progress is being made, and I'm grateful.
From Cape Coast, Abigail Lesol Nkrumah reports for Joy News.
Presenting the ultimate bragging rights in Vanderbilt School.
It's that time of the year on the academic calendar. The National Science and Maths Quiz is back and bigger than ever. The nation's brightest minds, the sharpest reflexes, and the question that changes everything. For the first time, over 170 schools enter the arena. More schools, more rivalries. Only one school will lift the trophy and claim the bragging rights of Ghana's champion of science and maths. Who has what it takes? Catch the contest on Joy News, Joy Prime, Joy FM, and across all our digital platforms. Date 20th August to 10th September 2026.
A student of Insutaman Senior High School, while throwing a warning shot at a rival school during the National Science and Maths Quiz, decided to serve them a proverb. The warning was clear, but the delivery, that one needed subtitles. Take a listen.
This match was not a competition for us. I was very sad when I heard maybe at around one, Sewanya Kun was leading. Yeah, but as for we have a berry that we boo. And the best is only a crack of Kotoba, no about quiet. I shall accept Kofia, Ubenya Biaka.
The meaning is?
And you know, the meaning is, on any start contest now. Maninya Binka, so part of them children. When you be proud or call back in Yabia say, oh, Uncle by what meaning is to my try say, made an attempt to be me there compete. But that's not a inti. I know they are near the gene and cake. Once if you were back on your bar. Sharp.
Interesting one there. One final ticket to the NSMQ 2026. 1/8 stage remains up for grabs, and 3 schools are now locked in a tense battle for that coveted spot. On this final day of the preliminary stage, Sunrise Christian High School has already shattered the odds, making history as the first private school to emerge from this year's prelims. But with just 1 ticket left and 3 schools standing between each other and qualification, the race is heading for a thrilling finale. Let's cross over live to Cape Coast and speak to my colleague Ramat Bashiru, who's joining us with the very latest on what's happening at the moment. Ramat, what does the competition look like so far, and what does the battle for that final qualification slot also look like?
The preliminary stage has been incredibly competitive among the schools who've been able to secure qualification so far. So far, they were looking at 49 schools to secure qualification. As I speak to you, the final slots, we entered the last day or the final day with 27 schools to battle for the 7 remaining slot to qualify to the 1/8 stage. So far, 6 schools have been able to secure qualification at the CNC auditorium here at Cape Coast. The final battle, 3 schools are in there going head to head to ensure that that final ticket is taken by any of them. Agri Memorial School is there with Osino Presby Senior High School and Nkonya Senior High School. Before I came out, Nkonya Senior High School already had -1 in round 3, and Agri was leading that particular contest. For Agri, we met them at the regionals and they were able to deliver a fantastic performance. And so it's been nothing short but drama Today is the final day for the prelim stage, and they've delivered it all: drama, heartbreaks, and all the excitement. But it's a good time to also appreciate our sponsors. The 2026 National Science and Maths Quiz is produced by Prime Time Limited and sponsored by the Ghana Education Service with support from GoldBod PLC, Prudential Life Insurance, Pepsodent, Truster AI, Due Pay Money Transfer, Lumivax, GTP, Spin City Laundromat, Didi, Jollof, Bell Beverages, Accra College of Medicine, Coronation Insurance, Academic City University, and YFM. The broadcast on Joy News is supported by Vitamilk, Entrance University of Health Sciences, and Chartered Institute of Management Accountant. Broadcast partners: Fruitelli, Excellence Publications and Stationery, Didi Sheto, Nataraj, Virtual Security Africa, Lift Signature Limited, Sintes Tank, Doormaster, View Crystal Hospital, Ayuda, Prospectus Ghana, Family Health University, and Mist Water. Today is the final day of the preliminary stage here at Cape Coast, the 27-seeded school for the 2026 National Science and Maths Quiz, including one-time champions, Infantipan Boys Senior High School. They've also arrived at the University of Cape Coast to also go for their balloting. This evening, they'll get the chance to meet who they are meeting at the 1/8 stage. As I speak to you, Agri contest is still ongoing, but NSMQ 2026 has delivered it all: drama and a lot of excitement.
Well, let's talk about Sunrise Christian High School, because they have made history by becoming the first private school to qualify for this year's prelims. What has stood out about their performance, and what does this achievement mean for the school? Hello, Ramat, do I have you?
Ken, you know this year's 2026 National Science and Maths Quiz? Yes, I can hear you. This year's 2026 National Science and Maths Quiz has been incredibly amazing, because not only do we see schools coming here with the hope of qualifying to the next stage, but they also try to get any of the awards that the quiz also present to them. We have the Clean Sheet Award, which means that if you're able to answer all your answers at the true or false round, you get a prize to take home. Others have also secured the highest scorer of the day, which Pepsodent also supports that particular round. And so it's been nothing short of incredible performance from this student. But today, from Sunrise, they become the first private school in the NSMQ 2026 preliminary stage to qualify to the next stage. Speaking to them after the contest, they tell me that the story is not over and they are ready for the 1/8 stage, because they are bringing something crazy we've not seen before.
So fight, we shall fight, and win.
Sunrise Christian High School, they are the first private school to secure qualification to qualify for the 2026 1/8 stage of this year's National Science and Maths Quiz Championship. For them, they are coming all the way from Volta region, and this qualification is a big win for them. Tell me, what does this win mean to Sunrise Christian High School?
We are very grateful to God for this win. We are very thankful. We've gone through a lot of preparations, and we were very confident that in this contest we are going to qualify, and by God's grace we have qualified. So we are very thankful to the Lord, and it means that we should expect bigger things from Sunrise in this competition. Yes.
The first private school to qualify so far to the 1/8 stage of the 2026 National Science and Maths Quiz. How do you feel?
We owe all thanks to God. This has not been a very easy journey, and we are counting on God to take us through. The show we put up wasn't even our full potential. We are saying to the world that there's more coming, so they should expect more in later stages.
So this was not even your full potential, and you were able to have 51 points. So what should we expect from Sunrise in Christian High School going to the 1/8 stage?
we are expecting a very superb competition from us. We will do our very best and show you what we have for you. Thank you.
Sunrise Christian High School,
where children grow in the sun.
Sunrise Christian High School,
where children grow in the sun.
Ramat Bashir is still on the line in Cape Coast for us. Ramat, this is the first prelims that you are covering. How has the experience been like for you, and what are you looking forward to?
Been amazing here because despite all the drama and heartbreaks that we witnessed on the stage, trying to also find other stories, some of the sounds that the students give us is also amazing, and listening to some of them has just been amazing. But Infante Pim School, I earlier said they are one-time champions. They're actually four-time champions. They've also arrived. Finally, the last contest has ended, and we can see people coming out from the CNC auditorium. A big heartbreak for Agri Memorial School. They never expected this because they dominated the contest from round 1 to round the final round. I understand Osino Presby Senior High School, they took advantage of the riddle round. They answered on the two clues, and they've been able to secure the final ticket for the 2026 preliminary stage to qualify to the 1-8 stage. Ken, which school are you looking out for as we progress to the 1-8 stage?
Well, since my school is not part, I don't know. I'm open-minded. Whichever school wins or progresses, so be it. Is your school part?
Yes, my school are 3 times quarter-finalists, and they've arrived already. They are all waiting so that this evening we do the balloting, and the balloting will determine which schools we are meeting in our next stage. But let me acknowledge our sponsors once again before I take leave of you. The 2026 National Science and Maths Quiz is produced by Prime Time Limited and sponsored by the Ghana Education Service with support from GoldBod PLC, Prudential Life Insurance, Pepsodent, Truster AI, Pay Money Transfer, Lumivax, GTP, Spin City Laundromat, Didi Jollof, Bell Beverages, Accra College of Medicine, Coronation Insurance, Academic City University, and YFM. You are able to enjoy National Science and Maths Quiz 2026 in your homes on Joy News. Because of these people, we have Vitamilk, Entrance to University of Health Sciences and Chartered Institute of Management Accountant, broadcast partners, Fruitelli Excellence Publications and Stationery, Didisheto Nataraj, Virtual Security Africa, Live Signature Limited, Syntex Tank, Doormaster, New Crystal Hospital, Palm University College, Ayuda, Prospectus Ghana Limited, Family Health University, and Mist Water. Ken, this is a good time for everyone to follow all our social media handles, to follow every bit of the contest. With the preliminary stage ending today, the 1-8 stage promises even bigger battles.
Well, thank you very much, Ramat. With the way you said 3-time, I thought you were going to say your school are 3-time champions. They are only 3-time quarterfinalists. Anyway, thank you very much. That's Ramat Bashir from the event grounds of the National Science and Maths Quiz. And that's it for the pulse this evening. For more news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is Kenneth. Jesse, the news team returns at 7 p.m. with News Prime. Have a good evening.